What's up in War Eagle War Report family? It's your guy Ike Jones, and we are here. It's time for the Ball State game, and we're going to get into it facts or not style. Y'all know how we do right here, War Report style. Let's drop it on them.
You are now listening to the War Report. Drop.
Friday, September the 5th, and we are here to talk about Auburn versus Ball State morning drop, sponsored by the good folks of Rogue Shop. Make sure you head over there, rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT when you do. Get 15% off at America's #1 online dispensary. Whether you have issues with pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, any of those things need relief, the Rogue Shop's got something there for you. Tell them the folks at the War Report sent you by using code REPORT when you go over there. We are going to get over into this thing, facts or not style, talking about the Ball State game. Appreciate everybody for joining me. Auburn set to take on Ball State tomorrow in Jordan-Hare Stadium, the home opener for the Auburn Tigers in the 2025 season. And we are here to talk about all of it. I want to get your questions right here live with my green name game, facts or not style. Let's get over into the comments and see what we have for you all. We'll get it kicked off with our guy Ray Snow, who asks, facts or not, will Jackson Arnold throw for over 300 yards this week? Listen, I'm going to have to be honest with you. I'm going to give that one a resounding facts. I think Jackson Arnold gets it done this week because the Ball State defense just was not good against the pass this past weekend. And I don't think it gets any better this week versus Auburn, considering I think Ball State is going to be trying to stop Auburn from running and make people believe that Auburn can execute through the air. I do think Jackson Arnold lights him up this week, 300 yards plus. Go ahead and put me down for a facts on that one. All right, next up, we got our guy Darius Lee, who jumps in and says, facts or not, Cam Coleman will have over 100 yards and a touchdown with 2 watches on. Cam Coleman over 100 yards and a touchdown. You know what? I'm going to go facts on that one as well. I do think Cam Coleman can get over 100 yards. I think he's going to only need like 4 catches to do it, right? I think he's going to get one big one down the field, 40, 50 yards, and another couple of them for 10 to 15 yards, and one of them being a touchdown reception from Jackson Arnold. Put me down for facts. Cam Coleman over 100 and a tutty with the 2 watches on. Yeah, we're going to go for that one. Facts on that. Next, we'll go to our guy Heavy coming in with a facts or not question. He says, facts or not, Ball State scores. We talked about this a little bit in our preview about how Ball State did not score versus Purdue. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say facts. They will actually score in this game. I think that Auburn will get to their reserves pretty early in this one, and Ball State will have an opportunity to, if nothing else, kick a couple of field goals in this one. So I will give them a facts on that one. I actually believe that Ball State has some talent at their at the skill positions, as they call them, wide receiver and running back and quarterback. So, I do think that they'll have the ability to move the ball a little bit, but I think that Auburn will keep them out of the end zone early. They may kick a couple of field goals. That field goal kicker didn't do so great versus Purdue, so we'll see if he can get a reprieve in this one versus Auburn. But I'll say facts. They'll go ahead and put some points on the board for the first time this season. Jumping back in here with my guy Heavy, who says, facts or nah, starters sit second half. Will the Auburn starters play in the second half? I'm going to go nah on this one. I don't think that they sit the entirety of the second half. I do think particularly, and that's a difficult one because there's so many guys that rotate in and out on defense that some of those guys might have played anyway in a regular game. But I do believe that some of those starters will play in the second half, particularly some of the receivers will get second half burn. And maybe you'll see Jackson Arnold one series in the second half of this game, but I don't anticipate him playing much beyond that. But I'll say maybe one series of the second half with Jackson Arnold, depending upon how efficient that passing game is for Auburn early in that game. I'll go nah on that one. Next up, we'll go with our guy Damian Smith, who asks, facts or nah, 5 total sacks and 2 turnovers for the defense. Oh, this is a big one. I'm going to go nah on this one. If you hadn't put both of them together, I might have been able to answer them separately. I will answer them separately here, but you asked them together in conjunction. I don't know that they get both of those, but I do think that they will have multiple sacks on the day. I'm not sure about the multiple turnovers. I have just never been big on DJ Durkin's defenses and their ability to force turnovers, even though I did see a concerted effort in the first game to attempt to go out there and get turnovers. Um, I think that the Ball State quarterback is a little risk averse, so he's going to be more likely to tuck and run than force the ball into situations where it may be intercepted. So I don't see multiple turnovers there unless a backup comes in and he throws some turnovers. And then fumbles just aren't something that are going to get caused very frequently. So I'm going to have to go gnaw on that one overall. I do, however, because of the way that they scheme with Ball State, believe that Auburn can get to the quarterback and overwhelm that offensive line. And 5 sacks does not sound unreasonable for me in this game. But I'm going to go nah overall on that one. Kevin Overton jumps in and says, facts or nah, Omar Mabson gets at least 50 yards on the ground in this game. Sign me up for a big facts on this one. It's already been reported that Damari Alston will be held out of this game, which means Jeremiah Cobb is going to be your starter. And the way that they rotate running backs, that means Cobb and likely Darrell Robinson are going to be the two taking the lion's share of the duties in the first half of the game. That means you're going to see a healthy amount of Omar Mabson and Alvin Henderson in the second half of this game. And I do believe with the way that Auburn is able to run the football, that they are going to each be able to eat quite a bit. Sign me up for 50 yards apiece for those young men. Plus, in the second half of that game, I'll go big facts on that. Felix the Cat jumps in next and says, facts or not, Eric Singleton goes for 125 with 2 touchdowns. That's a lot, man. So if I've already given Cam Coleman over 100, do I think another receiver breaks 100 in the first half? Because I do not expect Eric Singleton to be in the second half of this game. I'm going to go nah on this one, kind of reluctantly saying nah because I don't think it's impossible. But again, you put two things in conjunction on the stat line for me. I can go with him scoring multiple times. I think maybe on some sort of speed sweep, and then another one, maybe he catches it and turns it upfield for another one. I don't think that he gets 125 in the midst of that as well, though, just because I think Jackson Arnold spreads it around a little bit more than that. I do think, though, he's going to have a big day in this game. So give me the 2 touchdowns. I'll take the nah on the over 125 there. Darius Lee jumps in and says, facts or nah, Kendrick Faulk has a multiple sack game Friday. Kendrick Faulk got 1 sack in the game last week versus Baylor. He's going to get more than 1 this week versus Ball State. That Ball State defensive line is going to do everything they can to double team him. But Kendrick Faulk is an effort sack guy, meaning you try to block him initially and he just runs the QB down. If that QB holds on to the football, expect Kendrick Faulk to be waiting for him when he tries to escape the pocket. Give me multiple sacks for Kendrick Faulk on this Saturday. I will go big facts on that one. Damian Prentice jumps in and says, facts or not, Auburn will be up 3 scores at the half. If you saw my prediction of what I thought was going to happen in this game, then you already know I think Auburn's going to pour it on. So give me big facts on this one as well. At least 21-point lead going into the half for Auburn in this one. I'm going to be disappointed, honestly, if it's not going otherwise, just because, not because I don't think that Ball State is talented, but I do believe that this Auburn team still has something that they need to be able to prove, specifically on the defensive side. I think this defense needs to go out there and pitch as close to a shutout as they can in the first half, and that Auburn offense needs to continue rolling the way in which it did versus Baylor. So give me facts on that. 3 scores at the half. I'll take that one. Heavy jumps back in and says, facts or not, special teams touchdown. Will Auburn score another touchdown in the special teams this week? I'm actually going to go nah on this one just because I don't think they're going to even try to kick it to the guys. Like, I think you see Rayshawn Pleasant go out there and return one for a touchdown, and you say to yourself, man, I'm not even kicking it to that guy. So wherever he's lined up, I'm kicking it away from him. And then in the punt game, I think they're going to try to avoid kicking it to Auburn in that situation as well. Ball State actually did a decent job in coverage on their special teams in that first game. So I think nah on this one this week. But I do believe it's going to happen at some point in time later on in the season. Auburn will get another special teams touchdown after having multiple seasons where it didn't happen. They had, in the kickoff, I should say, at least. I do think there's going to be another kickoff return for a touchdown for Pleasant before this season ends. Denzel McCray jumps in and asks, facts or not, Jackson Arnold remains the SEC leading rusher after this weekend. I'm gonna go nah on this one. I mean, he had a great game in the first one. I do think that they are going to try to stress the pass a little bit more in this one. So I don't know that he even gets to, he had 137, I believe, in the first game. I think he's probably going to have at least 80 or 90 again in this one to maintain that lead after 2 weeks. And I don't know, with the other folks that are on the schedule for some of these guys that have cupcakes, I think they're going to have some running backs go crazy that will overtake that lead for him. So give me nah on this one, but I do still think you get a healthy dose of Jackson Arnold running the football in this game. Felix jumps back in. Facts or not on the defense takes a pick six to the house one time. This is a difficult one. I think I'm going to say nah on this one. Again, looking at DJ Durkin's defenses over the years, I just don't see a lot of chances for that to happen in the way that Ball State plays. They play a ton of kind of air raid ball control stuff, which typically is not going to have a lot of quick game. Typically, when you see pick sixes, it's either tip passes that go to somebody, and then there's just not a lot of grass out in front of them, or it's a lot of quick game stuff, something like that, where somebody jumps a route. Ball State doesn't run a lot of like now route quick stuff, right? Where it's just go to a spot, turn around and stop, or it's usually going to be like against zone coverage and things of that nature, and it's usually like slants in that of that nature, things of that nature. So I'm going to go nah on that one. Again, I just don't know that this defense is necessarily built for that type of thing to happen often. And then the way this offense plays and the risk averse nature of that quarterback, I'm going to go nah on it. But I'd love to see Auburn get a pick six at some point this season. 9-time champion jumps in and says, facts or not, a true freshman running back, either Mabson or Alvin, gets his first touchdown in an Auburn uniform. Give me big facts on this one. I think one of those, if not both of those young men get an Auburn. This to me feels like one of those situations where Auburn's going to have like 500 yards on the ground spread across multiple runners. And you're going to have 5 or 6 rushing touchdowns and a couple of passing touchdowns. I think, like to get to 70, you got to put up 10 of them things. So, yeah, you're going to have a bunch of touchdowns scored in this game. And I think multiple people are going to eat in that regard. Give me facts on that one. One, if not both of those guys, are going to get an opportunity to go to the house. Prince Chuku jumps in and says, facts or nah, Perry Thompson scores before Horatio Fields. This is a tough one, man. This is a tough one. I am going to say nah on this one. I think Horatio might get his first touchdown this weekend. And I think if both of them score, I think Horatio gets it earlier just because I think he's playing more snaps right now. I don't know, man. That's tough. I'm going to go nah on that one. I think Horatio might score before Perry does, even though I do think that Perry is more of a deep threat kind of guy. Give me a Horatio Fields red zone touchdown in this one before a Perry Thompson 50, 60 yarder. That's so tough because I think Perry plays more snaps in this game because he's going to be playing with the second and third team a little bit more than Horatio does. And if Horatio doesn't get it early, he's not going to get it at all. But I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to stick to what I said, and I'm going to say Horatio gets the touchdown first. Give me facts on that one. Ray Snow jumps in and asks the betting question, facts or not, do our boys cover the spread? Hey, man, listen, again, if you saw my prediction, this is big facts, man. Spread somewhere around 40-something points, and Auburn's scoring about 70 in this game, and they're not giving up 30+. So, yeah, give me facts on that when Auburn covers the spread comfortably in this game. I want to see an offensive explosion in this one akin to what happened last year versus Alabama A&M. Heavy jumps back in. Facts or not, Ball State's QB gets more yards rushing than passing. I actually believe that this would be true. Let me get facts on this one. I think he's going to utilize his legs quite a bit. I do think that the Auburn secondary is going to go back and look at that film versus Baylor, and they're going to see opportunities where they should have been able to not only corral ball carriers after they made catches, but be better in their assignments in this game. You're going to see a lot of the same kind of spacing concepts from Ball State that you saw from Baylor. And I do think that they're going to try their best to corral those receivers better, which means that quarterback's going to take off running more and give me his legs as the thing that's going to be a bigger headache than his arm versus Auburn in this game. All right, that's it for another great edition of Facts or Not. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before y'all get out of here, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share the content with somebody. We'll be back at you guys with more great Facts or Not, more great War Report content later. Also, great shout out again to our folks over at Rogue Shop. Make sure that you hit them up, rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT when you do. That gets you 15% off at America's #1 online dispensary. That is the Rogue Shop. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until the next time, and as always, War Eagle.